On today's Thursday edition of Locked On Hurricanes, you can listen to a guy who covers the team, but it's more important about the guy who calls the team. Mike Maniscalco joins on a very fun edition of Locked On Hurricanes.
Your Locked On Hurricanes, your daily podcast on the Carolina Hurricanes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the Thursday edition of Locked On Hurricanes, your team every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Now, the number one sports podcast network. I'm your host, Zach Martin, the credentialed Carolina Hurricanes beat writer over at the Hockey Arts. Also the co-host of the Surgecast, which is a weekly Carolina Hurricanes podcast, along with all my duties here at Locked On Hurricanes. But in reality, it's not about me. It's about my special guest today, and he is the 2025 North Carolina Sportscaster of the Year, Mike Maniscalco. Welcome to the show once again, and thank you for taking the time, and congratulations on your award, sir.
Oh, thank you very much, Zach. It is a team award. I have great people who I work with, as you know, on camera and then behind the scenes, some of the best in the business, and we have them every single week, every game to cover the Canes games on FanDuel Sports Network. So it's a great honor. I'm not going to lie. I'm pretty thrilled about it because it's voted on by the peers. Other people in the profession. So, this is not the equivalent of getting, the world's greatest uncle mug that my nephews brought me. This is something that, is a little bit more special than that. No offense to my nephews if they're watching. And they always tune in. Can't wait for every episode of Locked On the Hurricanes. So they're set. They'll be happy to hear that I've mentioned them. But no, it's a very, very humbled and honored experience for me, and just happy to be a part of it. And like I said, there's so many people I can thank. Probably take up about an hour to do it. So we're not going to do that. Let's get into the Carolina Hurricanes, Zach.
Yes, definitely. Well, I mean, we all know that it's really about Canes Cast and everyone else, but if they do turn to Locked On Hurricanes, we do thank you for that. But hey, I mean, you follow up, your co-host in co-partner and Trip Tracy, who won it last year as the co-winner. Yep. So nice little 1-2 punch for you and Tripper there.
Yeah, take that, Florida Panthers. You're not the only organization going back to back with big awards. So
there you go. Hey, you know what? We love to see it for sure, but
yeah, little different. I mean, it's a great honor, but hoisting the Stanley Cup might be a little bit harder of an accomplishment to get into it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, for what they've done, and of course the Hurricanes, they celebrate their 20th anniversary this year doing it. If anyone hasn't seen it, go check out episode 4 of Behind the Storm. The video team for the Hurricanes do an amazing job with that. Absolute great episode, doing everything with the 20th, the guys from the 05-06 team and all that and everything surrounding that. But definitely a series worth the watch. And another series, My World with Sebastian Aho. Fantastic stuff over there from the AHL YouTube, so check that out as well. But Mike, you said we're talking about the Carolina Hurricanes. Let's talk about this Carolina Hurricanes team. So as of right now, as we record on Wednesday afternoon, the Hurricanes do sit third in the NHL in points. They're technically tied with Tampa, but they have 2 games in hand. Mm-hmm. Points percentage-wise, it is what it is. But they are top 5, top 3 in the league. And from what you've seen for this Hurricanes team, battling through injury adversity all season, I think they're over 100 games of man lost in terms of what's been going on up and down on the roster, guys coming in, different spells of, big losing streaks, a couple losing streaks here, back and forth hockey. What have you seen from this Hurricanes team that is, despite everything that they're going through, find themselves top 3 in the league and tied for the number 1 seed in the East?
Oh, they're consistent, Zach. I mean, this is what we've been treated to for, we can go back 8 years now if you really want to, when this all started with Rod Brind'Amour. But it's when they play within their game, their system, when they're not, trying to, and look, it's hard to play a perfect game every night. Nobody plays a perfect game, right? Yeah. But when they play the way that it's supposed to look, and I know that people will roll their eyes when they hear Rod Brind'Amour say these things, but there's a way that this team is built, equipped to go play and be their best and win these games. And when they do that, even without the players that we can run down the list of, Jacob Slavin is barely played 10 games. I think he just played his 10th game as we get into this. Shane Gostisbehere has been in and out of the lineup. Seth Jarvis has missed time with an injury. We can run down the list of all of the players who they've had to shuffle in and shuffle out due to injury. And then, of course, the question marks that I think are now been answered in goal. That's my belief on it, because I know you'll probably have a question on it. But you look at how this team is built, and it's never the parts, it's the sum. It's when the group plays the way they're supposed to play, this is what it looks like. So it's next man up. We found out that Joel Nystrom can play in the National Hockey League, and you don't miss anything. So everybody who they've called either to come up and play and get significant minutes, or a game or two, or you cast somebody in a different role, or you move the forwards around. You found different lightning in a bottle at some points, but now I think you found some long-term chemistry with some of the changes that we've seen of late. But basically it comes down to, this is as good of a defensive team as you're going to find in the league, and they hang on to pucks better than anybody else. They know their system, they get after it, and it's not, oh, we need this guy to score tonight for us to win. It's great if they do, but there's somebody else behind them finding a way to contribute. So that's what I've noticed, and it's funny because I've said this a billion times. I'll say it again, Zach. We can talk about this team in the regular season. They're going to be measured by what they do in the playoffs. But for me, if they aren't doing this in the regular season, people would be worried. They're still doing this, and people are worried about how this team is playing. You're going to have a losing streak in the course of an NHL season. It's just going to happen because of what you mentioned, the schedule, or you're going to have injuries and how it comes to play. But this is a team that, normally you can count on one hand how many times they played a game where you're like, well, they didn't have it tonight, and they weren't going to win it. 2 games like that this year. 2.
Yeah, 2.
Every, I can point to even games when you look at some final scores, you're like, oh, they lost by this many goals. Well, did you watch how the game was played? So, no, they look how they're supposed to look. And I know that that's a boring answer, and I've actually rambled to give you that boring answer, but to me, they've looked how they're supposed to look. The amazing part is the defense has looked how it has without Jacob Slavin, and now that he's back. But for the most part, this is a team that they know what they're supposed to do. That goes to the core, it goes to the leadership that's there. And look, they have taken all sorts of slings and arrows that have come their way, and they found a way to play through it. And now, this is the last. I think they played game 50, so there's 32 games left in the regular season. This is all about getting sharp for the postseason and having this be the best version of the Hurricanes they can possibly be.
No, I totally agree. It's crazy to think that we're already at game 50 of the season, and it's just like we're not even at the Olympic break yet, and the trade deadline is on the 6th of March. It's just like not that far after that too, so it's kind of crazy where we're at. And you speak of like where the Hurricanes are at overall and doing what they've done. I mean, you're talking about a team who's 18-8-1 at home. Their road record is a lot better than it was last year, 13-7-3. And here's the thing too that has been, I think it's been a big game changer for the Hurricanes. I know you're going to agree with this, is the power play since December 5th. You're talking a 30% clip going from 31st or dead last in the league to, as they sit now, it's 12th. At like 21 point, I think 9% last time I checked. And it's the small tweaks that, because I know Rod's talked about, well, we're kind of tweaking here and there, but it's like Jordan Stahl gets added to that power play. They're fixing the little things. They're moving around a little bit more, but I think there's just that little change. It's something that has really clicked with this power play. And like I said, going from dead last to 12th in a month and a half, that's crazy to think when you look at a team that kind of was like went the reverse last year, 10th to like in the 20s.
Yeah, it's one of the things that has been, look, I get that this power plays hit dry spells through the years. And, today you have to have something to say, well, that's not perfect and it needs to be this, right? There's always something that you can point to, and, I know that there's some consternation this year, like, well, why does the penalty kill look the way it does? Why isn't it top 5? Well, I've said his name about 4 times already. Yeah, thank you very much. That has a lot to do with it. But when you talk about a little tweak, the reason why the Canes penalty kill has been so good forever is because, and I, it's one of these things where I don't have a lot of things that I repeat on a broadcast, like, phrases or whatnot, but I can almost, when the Canes penalty killers go over the boards, it's Jordan Stahl wins the faceoff, and he draws it back to either, and this is over the years. He draws it back to Jacob Slavin, or in this case, Keandre Miller or Jordan Martinook, and they send the puck down the length of the ice, as they customarily do to start every penalty kill. Well, look, the reason why the power play wasn't clicking early on is because the Canes were the team that had to go all the way back into their own zone and then find a way to get a zone entry and then set up the power play. By the time you do that, 31 to 45 seconds are already off the clock on your power play. And then you get this mentality of, we're looking for the perfect shot. Well, when you win the faceoff and that tweak of adding Jordan Stahl to the power play, and you can go back and those people are out there and you know who you are. Oh, yeah, that's going to fix the power play. Well, yeah, it does, because the Canes are now starting when he's not getting kicked out of the faceoff circle, which I think was the funniest part. Like the first 7 draws he took on the power play, he was kicked out.
It's like, yeah, okay.
But when you win the faceoff, and this isn't just the Canes, I'm not revealing the mystery of the universe on this one. When you win the faceoff and gain control of the puck, and you can, especially if you can move the puck quickly, and give credit to Shane Gostisbehere and now Alexander Nikishin, who's with that power play unit. But if you know where you're going to go with the puck right off the draw, and you can beat the penalty killers to the punch, you're going to have better looks. And go take a look. I'm pretty sure it's around December 6th. That's when we started seeing Jordan Stahl taking face-offs with the number 1 power play group. Oh, and then you got a big body you can put in front of the net, which isn't a bad thing either when they win the draw. But yeah, that's the thing for me that you look at it. The talent was there. It was just, Sebastian Aho, and he'll be the first one to tell you, he needed to be better in the face-off circle the first 2 months of the season on the power play. But now they've addressed that issue, and hey, lo and behold, the talent that's out there is finding a way to make it click. And I think that's the one thing now. And I don't see any reason why. Now, will it stay at 30% the way it has? Fingers crossed. But even if it comes down to like 22%, you're still going to be, that's still better than where it was operating. And if you can get a goal a game, the way that this team plays 5-on-5, if you can get a goal a game out of your power play, this is one of the top teams in the East. They're a hard team to beat, and especially when they play with the lead, because they can lock it down when they need to.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like I said, you look at their home records at 18-8-1, and it's just overall, I mean, they're tied for the number 1 seed in the East, and it's just they're only down because of points percentage, because Tampa's got 2 games in hand. But yeah, just the way the power play's clicking, PK's doing their thing with Jacob Slavin back, and shorthanded goals does help too. And because you always got to talk to me, Shorty, when you're talking about Seth Jarvis and Sebastian Aho and all those guys. Hey, I had to slip it in there. I mean,
it's fun. It's a good one.
Fun.
It's a good one. I was actually questioned about it. Like, was I taking aim at Seth Jarvis's height? And I went, no, it's a comment.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I'm old, and I used an old reference. This is why. But no, it's all good now. Now I'm getting a little bit of heat because I used it for Sebastian Aho when he scored, and I'm like, okay, well, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, sure, yeah. All right, guys.
You can't make everybody happy, Zach. You can't make everybody happy.
Trust me. Oh, trust me. I know. Believe me, I get it too. It is what it is. Well, you talk about Sebastian Aho, we talk about Seth Jarvis, here and there, but we're going to definitely dive more into the players on the Carolina Hurricanes, get your overall thoughts. So, everyone, stick around, and we'll do that here in a second on a Thursday edition of Locked On Hurricanes. There's nothing like being near the ice during hockey season. The speed, the hits, the atmosphere, it's unmatched. Watching at home is great, but being at the building is a completely different experience, especially when you see Brandon Bussi making a Save of the Year candidate on Tage Thompson. My goodness, that was insane. The only thing that used to get in the way was actually getting tickets, long queues, endless screens, price changes at checkout. That's why the Game Time app gives the advantage back to the fans. It's the hack for unlocking amazing NHL tickets and experiences in just a few taps. The zone deals are clutch. You choose the section, Game Time picks the seats, and you save even more. How much more? Well, when you're seeing NHL tickets available as low as $25, it makes it easy to plan a game night. Knowing tickets are backed by the Game Time guarantee gives a real peace of mind. So take the guesswork out of buying NHL tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONAHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON NHL for $20 off. Thank you for making Locked On Hurricanes your first listen today, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. If you haven't already, go check out our new Everyday Our Clubs and access to an ad-free audio feed of Locked On Hurricanes, compatible with Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and every other major podcast app. It's an invite to the members-only Locked On Everyday Our Club Discord server, which includes a group chat just for listeners of this show and other shows within the network. So tap the link in the show notes or the description to learn more and sign up today. Now, welcome back to a segment 2 of Locked On Hurricanes, your team every day. So we talked about the Hurricanes team as a whole, but Mike, I want to jump into some of the players individually and get your thoughts on these guys. I know when you were on SurgeCast with me and my other co-host with Richie and Kat, we asked you about Andrei Svechnikov and just where you're looking at for him this season. And right now, even with his slow start of the 8 games without a point, he currently sits 17 goals, 25 assists for 42 points in 50 games, 5 goals in his last 3, and he's only 13 off from hitting 30 for the second time in his career. What is it about Andrei Svechnikov over the last, I would say, not even just these last 3 games, but just for the last month and a half, or even going even back to November? What has it been about him that's really you're getting the pre-ACL Andrei Svechnikov that we know, who's just that dynamic power forward?
Well, I think that for the first time since that, as you bring up the ACL, I think it's the first time that he really feels 100%. Like there's no guesswork on how that's going to feel. And that leads to confidence. And it's going to be a real short answer on this one, Zach, believe it or not. He's just confident right now. And when he when he believes in his ability and things are going well, and look, when he scores goals, it makes him happy. And, you want to go to the rink and you have all of this. And it just sounds really weird that we're talking about these elite athletes and the best players of the best in the NHL. But, when it's not going their way, they fight it a little bit. The instinct is to try harder instead of just let your skill and instinct take over. And he has so much skill. And when he has confidence and belief that he can go out there and do what he does, you see what happens. You see the hat trick that he gets in New Jersey. You see that he's on this goal scoring streak right now. So the simple answer, honestly, Zach, is it's confidence. And you can say, well, there's a really good chemistry now with him and Sebastian Aho. And there is, but this started before that, right? It really did. So for me, I just think that he believes right now his game is where it should be. He's happy coming to the rink. And I think he feels comfortable playing. I think any doubt of, does this not feel right or is this off a little bit? I think that's out of his head. He can just go out there and play.
Oh, you mean these guys are human and, confidence is a factor?
Shocking, I know. Well, I believe we just broke that here. Locked On Hurricanes podcast. You heard it here first. That the game is played by people, and sometimes they might not feel great when they're playing the game. There could be something that they're fighting that we don't know behind the scenes, just so you're all clear on that.
Yeah. Make sure to let things be and not jump to conclusions. But
nobody ever does that, especially on social media.
No, not Twitter. No, never. That never happens. But another
guy that doesn't even exist anymore.
Well,
isn't it called something different? Yeah, I don't want Elon coming after this podcast, Zach.
Yeah, the last thing we need is to get this shut down when we're on a roll right now of subscribers and getting Mike Maniscalco on the show again
get that bump.
I don't know how it sounds.
Yeah, my mom. So you'll get one more.
Just one more at least. But another guy I really want to get your thoughts on, and I think he's lived up to what he was advertised in so much more, especially with the fact of, even starting on the first line, going to the second, and has been really doing great with the Jordans. Nikolai Ehlers, 14 goals, 39 points in 50 games, +4, 5 power play goals, 3 game winners. He's only played 50 games for the Hurricanes, but what have you seen from him over the course of the season? Trying to get used to a new system, new city, new conference, new everything. What is about Nikolai Ehlers that is just kind of that's the guy that the Hurricanes signed for the next 6 seasons?
First off, the speed at which he plays at, and the the nickname is Fly. But
it's,
I mean,
it's fitting. It's fitting.
Yeah,
it's unreal.
He's a one-man zone entry, right? He can carry the puck from his goal line to the other team's blue line, get in, and then create. And now that you put him, as you just mentioned, with, as Seth Jarvis affectionately calls them, my two dads, the Jordans, Stahl and Martinook, those are big bodies. Like, I noticed it in the Buffalo game on Monday, that the Stahl Martinook combo, they're going to create and they're going to draw a crowd because they're going to go to the net. Well, all of a sudden that opens up all this ice for Ehlers to get free and be creative and, get to those quiet spaces where, when he plays with, and by the way, it didn't work early with Aho and Jarvis, because early on you want the new guy here. We're going to give you the puck. We're going to give you, no, I'm going to give it back to you. And it's like, just let me shoot, right? Just don't worry about that. And I'm not screaming that shoot from when it's not the time to, but I think there was too much deference of no. It's like, with a friend when you're doing the exagerating, who's going to pick up the check? No.
Please, you do it.
No, not you. Let me. So you got a lot of that. And plus there's as you mentioned, just getting to a place. If you've been in a place for 10, 11 years, right? And this is your routine. I actually talked to a couple of the guys about it where it's, I don't need the GPS to get to the rink. I know that sounds stupid or small, but that's a comfortability thing where you're not feeling like you're going to be lost or you're going to get stuck in traffic. Like, you just do what you got to do. But his speed and his hands at which he plays the game. And then now we're starting to see his vision and his passing ability. I don't know if he's going to pass all of the numbers last year that he had in Winnipeg, but I have a belief that he might. And when you consider, again, the start that he got off to, and it took him a while to light the lamp, and that becomes an anchor around a guy's neck that, I'm with this team, I signed this contract, I want to show. Well, he fits in perfectly with his team now, and I really do I like the line combinations as they stand here today. I would like it more if Eric Robinson wasn't injured, but as it stands here today, Zach, you asked me about Nikolai Ehlers. He's a perfect fit for this entire group, and I say it's not just on the ice. He's like one of the nicest guys off of the ice. I don't know what it is about guys from Denmark and the Danish, but they're pretty laid back and pretty cool. And he fits in, and I think for him it was finding his way, getting comfortable with how the Canes play and how his role fit in with that. Now he knows. And it's going to take some time, but when he caught it, he got it, and now we're starting to see what Nikolai Ehlers is. And there was a reason why when everything shook down and we got to July 1st and all the big names that could have been out there, but they had all gotten signed or moved someplace else where they could sign. When Ehlers was really the only true free agent out there, everybody's like, that's the guy you got to get. And there's a reason why I picked Carolina, and it's fitting right now.
Yeah, I mean, it makes perfect sense, and it's a good thing we got him for the next 6 seasons. Talk about the Fly and the Great Dane that, get to go spend the Olympics together with and stuff like that. I know that has to be a huge asset for him to have a fellow, countryman. And that's what, Sebastian talked about on the My World thing, where he's like, yeah, it's great to have, he's able to talk, Finnish with KK because you have a countryman. I think that's another big thing I don't think really people know about is, it's a great place to be, but if you have fellow countrymen, it definitely helps, especially for the European guys.
And then the other great thing that Nikolai Ehlers has done, he actually has made Frederik Andersen laugh. So, I mean, there you go. There's that. That does
there
happen.
You go. So Freddie does know how to smile and laugh. Who knew? So a couple more guys I want to ask you about real quick. And I talked to him before the season. This was like before the first preseason game, actually able to stay with him one-on-one. And Jackson Blake, you're talking about a guy who last year didn't know where he stood in terms of making the roster. He makes it on 17 goals, 34 points in his rookie season. And I asked him, what is your mindset for season 2? He goes, honestly, now I know I'm with the team. I got the contract extension. I got that relief of knowing where I'm going to be. It's all about just making himself better. And talking about a guy who's 15 goals, sits 6 on the team with points in 29, he's played all 50 games. And you just feel like you're just seeing him just continually to get better. And that, that 1-on-4 goal against Minnesota. Like that kid can basically stick handle in a London phone booth. That's how good his hands are. What is it about Jackson Blake that you saw him from his rookie season to where he is now in his sophomore year? You're like, yeah, this guy's definitely taken a step in his second year.
Well, the thing for me was when he came back from the holiday break, the Christmas break, whatever you want to call it, because it looked like he was hitting the rookie wall, right? He hadn't played this many games before, and he came back from that and got better and continued to improve. And by the way, he is going to blow the doors off of the 17 goals and 17 assists last year.
100%.
The way this season is going. But for me with Jackson Blake, it's his compete. That's the thing. Like, and I know that can be nebulous for some, but you look at Jackson Blake and he's not the biggest guy in the world. How many times do you see him lose a 50-50 puck battle along the boards? How many times when he goes into the corner does he not come out with a puck? Like, now I'm not saying it doesn't, I'm not saying it never happens, but he puts himself in good position. He's got, I can run all the cliches, the high hockey IQ and all this, but what he is the competitive nature of him combined with the skill level. He plays the position right now, and you can say winger, forward, however you want to in the Kane system, but he plays the position like he's been here for years, and he knows where to go. He can get to the quiet areas. You rarely see him get lit up with a hit. I mean, and not saying that he doesn't get hit. Again, there are times, but he is a guy who has figured it out. And then how about we give Jeff Daniels some credit and Chris Huffine? I know that Rod does it. Chris Huffine's the video coach for the Hurricanes. And I mean, I don't know when Chris sleeps, but he breaks down all this tape and they have, this is what you do well. This is how we need you to do it. And Jeff Daniels goes over it with these guys. And guys like Jackson Blake and Logan Stankoven, and I don't know if Stank is next for, a comment, but I'll group them together here. So we'll knock out 2 and 1. They're sponges. They're sponges. They want to get better, Zach. They want to learn. They're not the guys who, I'm in the NHL. I've arrived. Everything I've done is great and I don't need to. No. They're the, how do I get better? What do I need to do here? How can I get better here? They are not satisfied with the fact that they've just made it to the NHL. It's the compete. They want to show that they are going to be some of the better players in this league. And, that's the thing for me. And if you're not, 6'3" and 215, you got to have that edge to you. You got to have that, snarl or bite or grit. It doesn't show up in hits and dropping the gloves, but it shows up in, I'm going to go to the front of the net with fearlessness. And that's because that's where the goals are scored. And that's what stands out to me. Like this year in particular, Jackson Blake knows where the goals are scored in this league. 90% of them are in front of the net and they're dirty and they're ugly and they're tips. And that's what he and Logan Stankoven forget their size. And it's one of the great things about the game of hockey where size, look, I don't want to take this in a different road. Size matters, but to a different degree where the biggest and the strongest aren't always the best in the NHL. When you take a look at some of the guys who are in this league and how they, like Braden Point, and before that, the guy who's the head coach of the Montreal Canadiens in Marty St. Louis, who, by the way, Lane Hudson, if you see Lane Hudson, you'd ask him, aren't you late for class? If you see Lane Hudson, the defenseman for the Montreal Canadiens, but he's given him the ability, and this is a defenseman, to go out and play, and I think that's when I see those two guys, a little combo answer. We went around the league as well, Zach, but that's what I see from Jackson Blake. It's the compete and the want to be better than what he is. And he already is a really good NHL player.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, when you get, Rod Brennamore saying that you remind him of what Ray Whitney was, that speaks volumes. He's talking about the wizard.
And that goes to like the hockey IQ of putting himself in places where, okay, I know if I can get here, I'm going to create something. And that only happens by watching, learning, and getting better.
Yeah, no, 100%. And the last guy we're going to talk about before we move into segment 3, you mentioned him earlier. You wondered if this question was going to come up. We got to talk about the bus driver. Got to talk about Brandon Bussey. It would be remiss if I didn't bring him up, talking to you, because you see him play a lot.
Yep.
I mean, this guy, what a story, spends, goes undrafted, goes from USHL, Western Michigan, goes and play for the Providence Bruins for 4 years, never gets a shot with the Bruins. I mean, we're talking about the Boston Bruins, because for those who don't know, it's weird how it's same name, different city, but goes and plays there, signs with Florida, gets claimed off of waivers, and now you're looking at the goalie, first ever, 18 wins in his first 22 starts, 2.2 goals against, a 906 save. Oh, also happens to get his first shutout and his first AHL point in the same season on top of everything else that's going on. And he talked to his all-time favorite player growing up in Henrik Lundqvist after absolutely robbing Tage Thompson. I think he stole his lunch and his salary for the next week. That's how insane that save was. But what have you noticed? Because I know you've probably talked to him and just been watching him. What is about Brandon Bussey that makes him where he's such an instant fan favorite already 22 games into a career that no one saw happening because he wasn't even with the Hurricanes during training camp. This was post-training camp getting this guy.
How many wins does he have?
18 in his
there
first
you go.
22.
There's your answer. You wanted to know how many losses.
I mean, it helps.
Yeah.
It helps.
I mean,
it helps.
How many losses does he have? Yeah, you look at his record.
Yeah.
He's 18-3-1, right? So
yeah, that definitely helps for sure.
that doesn't definitely help. That's the answer, Zach. Because if he was 3-18-1, I don't think the love for Brandon Bussey is there. No, it's the wins. But for me, the impressive thing is everything for him is a learning opportunity, a win, a loss, pregame ceremony to be a part of it, the travel here, everything is a chance for him to learn from this, process it. How do I make it, something that I can be better at the next time I'm in this situation or this situation happens. And he loves the moment. He loves the third period. He loves these close games. He loves the fact I might be the difference between winning and losing. And then the other thing too, Zach, he's 27. He's not 21, not 22, trying to figure out, hey, do I belong here? I think a lot of times when you see goalies get called up, and especially young goalies get called up and get this really instant hot start, and they're the flavor of the month, and everything's great, and they're going to be this great thing. Brandon Bussey's paid his dues to get here, so this is not a take it for granted moment. This is I rode the buses in Providence, and oh, by the way. And I keep having to remind people about the Providence Bruins. It's not like they were loaded with all of this talent in the Bruins farm system, and they're going to win all these games. But you take a look, all he's done pretty much his entire career, where he's played, he wins. He won at Western Michigan. He won with Providence. He had 5 shutouts last year with Providence, right? And he had a winning record. He's an AHL All-Star. And the fact that he's an older guy getting to experience this. Now, he had cups of coffee with the Boston Bruins, but he never played, right? He got called up, but he never played. So he kind of had all right, I know what it's like to be in an NHL room. But for him, all of this is so he's not a high draft pick. He's not a pick. He's not this. He's been kind of skipped for things in his life. So when the crowd's chanting his name, it's not hey, I've expected this. This is part of my life. It's this is awesome. Give it to me. Give me more. And he's got such a great attitude for all of 100%. This. And I think that that's part of it. And because of the attitude, the guys in the locker room see this. And it's like, you know what? This guy's going to do whatever it takes to make a save. And if you want to know about Brandon Bussey and what he's doing, go find the video of Henrik Lundqvist talking about the save and how he makes it, but what set up the save before that, because Henrik Lundqvist can talk about goaltenders way better than I can about the process of the why. But for him, Zach, he is a smart human being first, and he takes everything as this is my chance to get better, and that's the big reason why you've seen Brandon Bussey put up the numbers that he has. All of the analytics people, all of the hockey gurus are telling you this isn't a fluke. And here's why it's not a fluke. He's not facing a lot of shots, but he's facing a lot of high danger chances. I think the last time I looked with Mike Kelly, who's one of our data analysts for FanDuel, the great Mike Kelly. I think that Brandon Bussey was second in the league in saves above expectation for high danger chances. He might even be first now after that Buffalo game with what happened. Should be after that. But it's, again, there's a combination here. And I know everybody is wondering, well, is this going to last? And what is it going to do? I have seen no signs of this isn't going to last. Now, the Montreal game, did that go great? No, but you're going to have it. Everybody's going to have it. I mean, what? I'm trying to run down the list of guys who've gotten lit up this year for 7 goals or 9 goals, and I mean, and it's a who's who of goaltenders, right?
Yeah,
You know,
it's a
some guys
long list.
yeah.
Yeah.
So those games are going to happen. But you know what happened after that Montreal game where people are like, "Oh, is this it?" He comes right back and he's great again, and then he's the same. And it's one of those things where look, there's no one way to play this position, because Dominic Hasek, who I was fortunate enough to be around a long time ago, he ran, but he ran hot, right? He was gonna be emotional. He was gonna be, but then you see the guys who are just super cool. You know, the heart rate doesn't really get up there. Bussy is a gamer, and not only that, he's a student. So if Paul Schoenfelder tells him something, and this comment came out, there was a great article in The Athletic about Brandon as well.
Yep.
If a goalie coach or somebody says, "Hey, look at maybe doing this," he's not the guy who goes, "This is the way I've always done it." He will look and be, "All right, maybe this is a better way to do it, and how can I incorporate it to how I play?" So don't expect this bus to stop at get derailed and go to the garage anytime soon. This thing is going to roll for at least the foreseeable future.
Yeah, park it in the crease. Winds are going to start coming. Get ready for bus stop number 19 whenever that opportunity comes up. But like one last quick question. That save on Tage Thompson, what was your initial reaction to it?
I thought he scored. Thought he scored. No, Alex Faust
TNT thought he did. TNT thought he did.
Alex Faust wasn't alone. Neither was Dan Dunleavy, the Buffalo Sabres play-by-play guy. Dan and I actually talked. He goes, "Did you call it a goal?" I went, I called it a goal. And if you hear the radio call, because it's radio only, and then Tripp wasn't sure that Bussy caught it. But my thing is, and you were at the game, right? There's a groan.
I was there.
There's an audible groan from the crowd. So, you try to take cues, and we're a little bit high up in the press box. And I'm like, all right, that goes in. I'm like, well, Thompson isn't reacting. The light isn't on. And Tripp is like, I think Bussy got it. And then we're looking, and then Bussy turns his glove over and he caught it. And it was like sheer awe. There's no other way to put it. It is the save of the year in my mind because of who shot it. It was a 2-on-0. And how does he get the glove across to make that save?
Hey, good thing he's left-handed. That's all I can say.
Yeah, if he's right-handed, that's going in the net, baby. So
because the crazy part is I sit right in front of the away team's radio broadcast on press row. I'm hearing them going, "How did he?" I'm like, like even I was on press row going, "There's no way he saved that," and he did. I'm like, all right, save of the year, chalk it up. I don't care who else has an opportunity to make one. That's it, done and done for. Yeah, that was just absolutely unreal. All right, so we fully encompassed the Hurricanes, talking about a lot of guys, but now it's time to get to the outside of the hockey part. Now we're talking about food, music, anything else that we can come up with real quick with Mike. So stick around, everyone. We'll jump into that here in a second on a Thursday edition of Locked On Hurricanes. Welcome back to segment 3 of Locked On Hurricanes, your team every day. Mike, I do appreciate you taking the time with me. I know we've jumped into a lot of stuff with the Hurricanes, a lot of players, season overall, but I want to get some outside of fun stuff, music, food, all that with you real quick before we let you go. So when it comes to Raleigh, and I know a lot of people look at, Texas barbecue, barbecue out west. What is it about North Carolina barbecue for you that I think it's very underrated that maybe people will be like, before you say other cities like Kansas City or you're talking about Texas, why is Carolina kind of like the place to go?
Well, I mean, when you get the whole hog barbecue, I mean, when you get like that chopped where you're getting, some rib meat in there with the, or you get pulled pork, whatever it's going to be. It's not just like one part of the pig that you're getting, like, right? You go to brisket in Texas, which, by the way, and I don't want to get run out of the state of North Carolina, great brisket is one of the hardest things to beat in the world. And I've had it in Austin at some of the top spots, but the whole hog where you get everything. And then it's a really good balance, man. It's a good eat. But I like it when like you're like, oh, this is kind of like, this is like from the loin and this is like the fat. You get all of the taste of and I'm sorry to the PETA people who are out there, but I am a carnivore. And, you know, when you get all of the taste, it's a true representation of like, hey, you know, it takes time to do this right. You can taste the smoke and the thyme. And then, you know, if you don't need a ton of flavor to it, but, you know, you get the vinegar-based sauce into it that brings a little bit, you know, or however people mop it. And I've been so lucky to have, you know, Sam Jones, and then, you know, he's with the Skylight people over in, what is it, Alet, North Carolina, and that kind of started it all. So I've had barbecue every Old Time right by the rink is phenomenal. The Pit, where I've had ribs from, you know, from Ed Mitchell, who started it, to then Melanie Dunya, who was the head executive chef there. And she did a great job to where they are now. Like, it's just Carolina barbecue. And the other thing I do like about it, there is an East and a West, right? There is a little bit of a rivalry within the.
I was going to ask you that.
Within the, now my wife loves the Eastern style.
Mm-hmm.
She loves the vinegar and the red pepper, and I lean a little bit more towards the tomato base. You know, give me a sauce, give me something sticky, give me that. But yeah, that's you can't go wrong either way. It's just great. But it's the full representation of the animal. And that's the thing for me. It's like there's nothing wasted about it. That's what I like most about Carolina barbecue. It's hard to explain to people if they've never had it.
Yeah, no, I completely
and
agree.
Then you get, no. And then you get the real secret. There are a couple of places that do this because the skin gets like really crispy, right? The chicharrones, you get the cracklings, whatever you want to call it.
Oh yeah.
Some of the good places chop that up and put it in with the barbecue. Yeah, that's when we're in a good spot.
Oh, see, now we're getting into the good stuff right here. So at least we know that Mrs. Maniscalco knows that the vinegar base is a little bit better. But hey, I can't knock you, Mike. Can't knock you. To me, the West is good, but yeah, I'm more of an Eastern Carolina guy myself when it comes to the barbecue. But you know what? You can't go wrong either way. North Carolina barbecue. It's not bad.
I see what you're trying. I see what you're trying to do here, Zach. I feel we should celebrate our differences, not use them to put up a fence.
Exactly. Hey, you know what? Honestly, can't go wrong either way. I mean, as long as it's good Carolina barbecue, that's all that really matters.
Hey,
but
if the one guy never put his chocolate in the peanut butter, we'd never have Reese's peanut butter cups.
You know what?
And I have to stress Reese's peanut butter cups for those of you who follow Carolina Hurricanes broadcasting.
Yeah. If you haven't, just go look it up.
No, don't.
Also, don't. Yeah. You had to be there for it, and even then, it's like oof. But you gotta love Tripper. You gotta love the guy for that.
I do. He owned it. Love it.
Hey, the fact that he even wore a Reese's cup costume, even better too. I mean, he knows how to live by the moment. I mean, goes from frosted tips to Reese's cups. I mean, what can't Trip do? Essentially, it's kind of
literally nothing.
But so when you're talking about, I know I've kind of asked you this throughout the many times. I think we're actually at like a velvet suit for how many guest appearances you've done on this show and Surgecast and all that stuff, but. On the road, I know you and Shane have talked about it. When he comes on the road, or when it's just you and Tripper, or you and you guys, and all that works out. Where for you would you say is probably, because everyone's going to talk about New York, everyone's going to talk about LA, but like what other cities kind of get overlooked in terms of their food scenes?
So I'll give you a sneaky good food scene. Columbus, Ohio, sneaky good.
As an Ohioan, I love to hear it.
Sneaky good food scene.
Yep.
Great sandwich places, really good restaurants that are around the arena. So if you're downtown, there's places where you can go, and they cover the gamut. My hometown, but Buffalo, New York is another. Yeah. It's underrated, and it's basically because it's not chain stuff, right? And there's no offense to chain restaurants, but like you're going to places that have been there for a while, and they're there for a while for a reason, because they're good. Montreal is one of the best food cities in the world, not just in the NHL. That's phenomenal that you don't want to sleep on. I want to give some cities their due. Minneapolis, but we're in St. Paul, but if you get the chance to go to Minneapolis, that's a really good food scene as well, that you wouldn't think of. Where else can we go? Tampa's really good because you get a lot of fusions of flavors. Of course, you get the you're going to get the Cuban flavors that are there, and you'd think in Miami as well, but we really stay more in Fort Lauderdale than we are closer to Miami for the Panthers. But Tampa's a really, really good food city. You can go down to Ybor City, and they have, you get some of the best Cuban sandwiches in your life. And then there's a really good Italian restaurant scene in Tampa. So that's up there. But yeah, if I was going to go like sneaky, if that's what you're looking for, like Columbus is just a sneaky good food town. And trust me, I know good food towns, and that's up there. So.
Hey, as someone's from Northeast Ohio who's been to Columbus a few times, you can never go wrong with that. A very sneaky city when it comes to food, sneaky good fan base, just an overall scene down there. You can't go wrong with Columbus. But moving on to music before we let you go, I know you're a big guy on just when it comes to grunge or rock in general, but for you, like what is like that has to be automatic on the playlist if it's on a game day, if you're superstitious, or just in general, just to get you through the as Rod Brendamore called it, the Groundhog Day of just the constant monotony of the same thing every day when it comes to the NHL. What is like, I got to listen to this, or like, this is, whatever may it be, what is, I got to listen to this for you?
It's gonna sound weird, Zach, but I have a pretty eclectic music taste. Like, I grew up in the 90s, so there's always going to be the spot for Nirvana and Pearl Jam and Soundgarden and Alice in Chains and Stone Temple Pilots. Like that, there's always going to be that place. That's you look at my iPhone, you look at my playlist, my Apple Music list, and I mean that's up in there. I love the Beatles, the early stuff for sure. But Sturgill Simpson right now is huge on my playlist. Like there's certain songs that just get you to where you want to go, and it also depends on how long is the bus ride, how big is the game.
Right.
No, I like it. It's weird. It honestly depends on how I'm feeling or like the game. I have a weird thing about, I kind of like to play music from the city that we're in. Mm-hmm. So I am not a Bon Jovi fan, but I can promise you on the bus ride to Prudential Center, Wanted Dead or Alive is going to be, playing, and I'm going to listen to it on the bus ride in. It's, because as the great Dean Winchester once said, Bon Jovi has been known to rock on occasion. So
I love the reference. Man.
But it's for me, again, like so I don't know if you know this, but Andrea Bocelli is going to be playing at Lenovo Center, and I joke because like the commercial has been out a lot. But
I heard somewhere about that.
But I would love to go see him. Right, we're talking about opera, right? So I'm into everything. It just I'm trying to think like what I'm not super into. I'm not into the super industrial heavy metal scene, right? So you're not going to get that. But that being said, not that this is an industrial heavy metal band, but Nine Inch Nails and Trent Reznor, right? And Tool. Yeah. So, if you name an artist, the thing I think that would be shocking is you'd be like, oh, you have this? Yeah, I probably have them on my Apple playlist. So like I can go from Sinatra and Dean Martin to Sabrina Carpenter. Like, I'm not joking. Like seriously, or Billie Eilish.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
No, I'm not. But like, it's like that's what cultural. I'm saying. Like I mean, the Espresso's got a hook, man. It's a catchy little tune. Whoever wrote it. So
I will have to agree with you on that one. Espresso is pretty.
Look,
catchy,
I'm not proud, but at the same time, or. Like Trip jokes.
Welcome to 2026. Welcome to 2026, man.
But Trip jokes with me that I do have Taylor Swift on my iPhone, and he's like, "Oh, you big Swiftie." I'm like 3 songs, but it's
I mean,
is there going to be more Led Zeppelin and the Rolling Stones? 100%, but it's a long season, man. You got to find stuff to get you through.
Yeah, exactly. And on top of the fact that we're getting 82 more regular season games next year too. So you got less preseason is fine. If they want more regular season games, as long as it's not 90, it's fine. 84 is okay. It's just 2 extra divisional games. We'll be fine. But hey, can't go wrong with the music.
Hey, anything that's less preseason for any sport, I am all for it.
Exactly. So one last question before I let you go.
I will listen to the Spice Girls if that's the case. No Spice Girls on my phone, by the
way. Oh my gosh.
That might be the one. That might be the one group that is not on my phone. In boy bands, I'm not a big boy band guy.
Oh, okay. So we're not going to say bye and all that stuff.
No. Yeah, you're not going to get that. Although, I mean, Timberlake on his own is fine.
Yeah. Other than that,
where are we on the Jonas Brothers now? Look, you didn't think it was going to devolve to this, did you, Zach? Here we are.
No, you know what? Here we are. And if anyone's still listening by this point, good on you for actually knowing.
Oh, trust me, they will.
Up.
Trust me, they will, because somebody's going to make a reference to me about, oh, you don't like the Spice Girls? Not saying I don't like them. They just weren't my cup of British tea.
Right.
English tea.
I see what you did there, and
thank you.
I mean, and I know all the Hurricanes fans are getting the ones who like Sabrina Carpenter and Taylor Swift are going to love hearing that you kind of got a couple of those on there, because we know there's a lot of Hurricanes fans that are. So I'm waiting to see if they react to that. So one last question for you: best concert, where was it at? Putting you on the spot, because I know you've been to a good number of them.
I mean, I always have an ace up my sleeve when it comes to the best concert. Or
give me the ace. Give me the ace up the sleeve, but give me the one that you're like, okay, if I have to be different.
No, it's because like I've seen a lot of good shows. I saw Pink Floyd on the Division Bell tour up in Toronto, and that was a great show. I'm trying to run down the list. I've seen Prince, and that was an unbelievable show. I've seen Pearl Jam. I just finally crossed them off the list this past March when they played Lenovo Center.
I remember that.
It's weird. It's weird that's been on the list. I saw Interpol in a club that held like 104 people.
Wow.
The best show that I was at, the Tragically Hip, is they're one of my favorite bands of all time. They're a Canadian band, and Gord Downie was a genius, and the whole band was great. I saw them on their last tour in Edmonton. So
there you go.
The show I saw them the 2 nights in Edmonton. The shows were phenomenal, but it was the weirdest thing because we were there to see the Hip, but there was also we know we're not going to see him again because of what Gord Downie was going through with had a brain tumor. And it had spread. But, the shows that they gave out in the crowd, I mean, that's up there. But the ace up the sleeve is I saw Nirvana live.
I mean,
that's the one. And it was like, the funny thing was I paid $10 for the ticket. That's even better. I didn't want to go to the show. My buddy had to talk me into going, but I had to go pick him up. He was at school in Rochester, and they were playing UB's Alumni Arena. And so I had to get him. That's why
it was $10.
Yeah, because he called me and he's like $25. I'm like, this is 1993. $25 is like 125 today.
Yeah.
And so I had to go pick him up and bring him to the show. But I got the ticket for $10. And I walked in and at the time we were all required to like Nirvana. Yes, I had Nevermind, but it's like, I think I like Pearl Jam better. And then I went to the show and walked out of it and went, all right, Nirvana's phenomenal. It was just,
it's like, you know what? You got me.
Dave Grohl hammering the drums, and Kurt Cobain was the anti-hero of lead singers. It was a great show. I've seen the Foo Fighters at Wrigley Field. Like I said, it's hard for me to just narrow it down. But the Nirvana show was the one where I walked out of it and went, okay, that was special. That speaking of another $10 ticket. The first concert I went to, I was a late bloomer for going to shows. Smashing Pumpkins played my college, and it was a $10 ticket, and the opening act was terrible, and they kind of got booed off the stage, and they insulted the crowd, and Billy Corgan comes out and goes, we're going to do something special. They played for 3.5 hours.
Wow, there you go. Yeah, I mean,
so
at least they're going to be like, sorry about that. We'll make it.
Oh yeah, it was a whole thing, but Nirvana, like if people want to know, like that is the number one, and clearly, yes, the reasons afterwards are what shot it up to that. But I went into that show going, okay, give me everything that Nirvana's ever put out after that. That's how good the show was.
No, that's No, that's absolutely fantastic. Yeah, you can't go wrong with it. And hey, now everyone knows Mike Maniscalco. He is not a man who will not be afraid to try new music, no matter what city it is and whoever it may be. But Mike, thank you so much for coming on. I know we went a lot longer than I thought it was going to be, but
we always do, Zach. We always do.
Yeah, I'm like, oh yeah, it'll be about 30, 35 minutes and turns into an hour, and I feel bad afterwards.
Just stop saying that you're going to have me on for X amount of time.
Just let it go. Just let it be. Hey, you came for the Hurricanes. You come, and then you end up with pulled pork and music. We've hit everything on the show. It's, you know what? I hope everyone enjoyed it. I know I did. But Mike, before I let you go, where can people find you? Because I know that you in social media is.
No, don't even look for me. Don't even look for me on social media anymore. Just when Canes Cast comes out with me and Shane Willis, or you can see us on FanDuel Sports Network when the Canes are playing, which you will not be able to see us. You will not be able to see us for the Chicago Blackhawks game, but we will be, much like everybody else returning to the Avengers Doomsday. We'll be returning to FanDuel Sports Network in Ottawa on Saturday night.
Yeah, 99.9 The Fan, because it's ESPN Plus Hulu for the Thursday game. I know people, they know where to, get to you by asking questions for Canes Cast, and hopefully the couch isn't as big as it usually is.
Oh no, it's even worse this year. We're like, why did we have to buy a new one?
Honestly, you might need to get one of those like big U-shaped ones that just goes along the walls.
We just bought the what is it, the love sack where you can like rearrange it to however you want. Yeah. Oh, that's Shane's office right now. All right. And by the way, if you want to end this and not keep me for an hour, you can wrap this up at any point in
time. Yes, we will definitely do. But guys, make sure the local on, I think it's Monday, correct? Correct. Brandon Bussey.
It should be a great one. Looking forward to it.
Oh, yeah. It's already going to be amazing. Go check that out. If you are in the area, go check out the local. If not, you'll know where to find all the good stuff. But Mike, thank you so much. This was a lot of fun, and we'll definitely have to do it again soon, and we'll definitely have another hour show talking about Hurricanes and everything else for sure. So, like I said, big thank you so much for doing this again.
You got it. Maybe next time, just tell me you're going to have me on for an hour, and then it'll only be for 35 minutes. And then we can actually hit the mark.
Maybe we'll have to try that first. We'll try that for sure.
Happy to come on, Zach. Have a good one, and enjoy the hockey.
Big thank you to Mike Maniscalco for joining me. A longer episode than we thought it was going to be. But honestly, it's worth it. Just be able to talk to Mike for however long we have, talking about music, talking about food, Hurricanes, all the good stuff. I really hoped everyone enjoyed this episode. I know we did the preview for Blackhawks Hurricanes on the Wednesday show. Wanted to do something really cool for the Thursday one, kind of just do an overall encompassing thing from the man who covers them every game for play-by-play on TV or in the radio, or of course in this instance on the radio. But hopefully everyone really enjoyed this episode. And that being said, this will be the Thursday edition of Locked On Hurricanes. Thank you for making your first listen of the day. If you never missed an episode, the Everyday Club is built for you. Get Locked On Hurricanes ad-free, plus a members-only Discord access, and more. Click the link in the show notes to learn more and join the club today. For those of you on the video, we send you to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you make your second listen the NHL Game Night on Locked On AHL. If you want to keep up with me, I'm at @OneTrueZach on X. The podcast is L_Hurricanes. I'm also on Blue Sky, the Zachary Martin, where if you click the link to my bio, you can find all my written content at thehockeywriters.com. If you want to check my other podcasts, it's the Surgecast on podcast platforms and on YouTube. For Locked On Hurricanes, you can find us on Spotify, Google, Apple, iHeartRadio, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Make sure you leave a 5-star rating and review. For YouTube, it's Locked On Hurricanes. Subscribe, hit the bell notification so you don't miss the show. Hit the thumbs up so you like the show as well. Share with other Caniacs to become everydayers just like you. But hope everyone enjoyed this very long edition of the Thursday show of Locked On Hurricanes. Enjoy your Thursday and have fun watching your Hurricanes take on the Chicago Blackhawks. Until next time, as always, let's go Canes.